So maybe this will work again. I just tried to go live from the car, and my feed wouldn't work. And let me adjust that right there. My my app closed, and then I couldn't restart that stream. So hopefully everybody finds this one instead. But just driving down the road. Haven't done this in a while. Thought it'd be a great time to turn on the camera and just connect with some folks. I don't have a plan. I don't have a topic. Don't know what's going on for sure, but driving across southeast South Dakota right now, and there's not much for traffic, so I get to maybe just spend a little time with some folks I haven't been able to spend time with lately. So if you're watching this live, then go ahead and make a comment. Hey, Sam Wolf is in the house. Go ahead and make a comment so I know you're here. If you're watching this on replay, I don't know how good of a stream this is going to be. We'll find out, I guess, when it's over. But either way, thanks for joining us. Sandhills Sweetheart is not with me today in the car, so just kind of making a road trip. Gonna do some stuff. I think I'm gonna finally get a scope put on the old Browning rifle. So if that happens, I will make a quick video at some point too, and show that off to everybody. But yeah, let me know who's out there. I don't have a list of things I want to talk about. For once, I don't even have anything right now that I want to rant about. So I'm gonna let everybody just kind of pick what they want to talk about right now. But I will say this, as I think everybody's aware, the midterm elections are coming up this year, and that is always the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. So that will be the 6th of November, this coming, not this coming Tuesday, there's one more Tuesday left to go before Election Day, but in about a week and a half. So make sure you're registered to vote. I don't know when the deadline is or when it was. That's everybody's civic duty is to vote in the elections. And I'll just say this much: if you're not going to be part of the solution, then you become part of the problem. So even if you don't like anybody on the ballot and you don't want to vote for any of them, that's fine. But show up, and you can exercise your right to not fill in a box or push a button, but show up and be counted as someone who did come out to the polling place, because that is something that not every country in the world has an opportunity to do. We don't want to take it for granted, and I think we take way too many of our freedoms for granted. So Sam, what's happening in South Dakota? Not a whole lot. Gonna make a trip up to see my wife's brother. She's not feeling well enough to, because you know how this works. I'm from that week she spent in the hospital, and she's doing a lot better. Still worn out, gets tired easily. We did our last wedding dance of the season. Most everybody knows that on weekends we work our other business, a DJ company, and do a lot of wedding dances, receptions, things like that. And wrapped up the season. We're done until after the first of the year. So we always kind of feel this must be how Travis and Pacific Northwest and Grimm. This must be how all the teachers feel about the last weekend in May. Everything is kind of wrapped up, and I know that teachers are busy all summer long as well, but it's not as hectic. It's not the daily grind like it is during the school year, and that's kind of how it is for us too. We typically only work one Saturday a week, and not every Saturday, but lately it's been most of them. And so got a tractor pulling a creep feeder right in front of me. I don't know if everybody knows what a creep feeder looks like, so this is what it looks like going down the road. It's just it's kind of like those self-serve dog food feeders that you can get, where you just put the dog food in the top and then the dog food comes out the bottom, and those little panels, those fold down, and you can set the bar on that to where a calf can get through, but the cow cannot. So you can get your calves started eating grain or eating feed out in the pasture. So when you go to wean them off of the mama, then they already know what grain is, and so you fill that feeder full of the creep feed. And then, like I said, the calves can get in there and eat that. So there's a little bit of farm and ranch trivia for you there. Anybody that's ever heard the term creep feeding and never knew what that was, that's what that's all about. So maybe we'll just leave. I don't figure anybody wants to look at me. Maybe I'll just leave this camera pointing forward again. This part of South Dakota doesn't look a whole lot different than the part of Nebraska where I live. That's why every time I get out to the Sandhills, I like to show you guys what that looks like, because that to me is the prettier part of the world. But there's some corn off to the left. There used to be some beans off to the right. Looks like those are already out. I think all the beans are pretty well in now for the year. This country up here I know was awful wet. They got a lot more rain up here than even what I did. I'm only about 80 miles south of here, but I know that there was a report on the news here a while back of there was a farmer up here somewhere who actually had to take a kayak out to check his field because it was under so much water. This looks like one of those hills where I might disappear. Bear with me if I do. I'll be back. But I'm seeing more people come along. So let me know who you are, let me know where you are, and let me know what you want to talk about. Like I said, I didn't really have a topic in mind. I, of course, wanted to remind people to go out and vote, but other than that, what's been going on? What kind of nuggets and pearls of wisdom can I give to the world today? What anybody wants to know. Is there anything particular in South Dakota I'm going for? Yes. Hey David, what's up? Yes, Sam, there is. I'm actually headed up to see my wife's brother. She's not with me, but I'm going to go hang out with him. We were hoping to maybe not only scope my new Browning rifle, but to get it out on the range, but his wife has to work today, and he's on dad detail. And there's a little one. He's too little to go out to the range. He has to be full-time supervised. So we may make a trip to Shields, but we won't be making a trip to the range unless he can find somebody to watch little man. The other two are big enough; they can go to the range and do a little shooting on their own if they want to. But you're listening while you're driving. Well, that's pretty cool because I'm actually driving while you're listening. So that works. If you head west, I'm actually headed kind of east right now. If you just come on all the way west, then we can hang out today, Dave. So that'd be cool. Scott P is in the house. Sup? And hey, the California cucumber is here as well. So enough with the Spring Hill. Honestly. Now I know how Night Strike must feel when you call him Jonas, or when you talk about a blue. Now, I can handle Spring Hill way more. That's not nearly as comical as the blue dress. So, plus I think maybe eventually everybody will kind of forget about the Spring Hill Speeds deal, and that might blow over. That blue dress, that's branded on Night Strike forever. So, for those of you just joining, I don't really have a topic. I'm just driving. Some people, if you're new to my channel, I used to do this more. I just haven't had a lot of windshield time lately. So I just like to turn on the camera sometimes and just kind of connect with folks and see what's going on. pretty area. Yeah, if you're into this kind of stuff. I didn't grow up in so much farm country, and so it's okay. But I just as soon see native grass, pastures and meadows and things like that. That to me is the best. And this is a close second. I've never been really out to the desert. Haven't spent much time in mountains. They're nice too, but you know, there's no place like home, right? So fair enough, crybaby. Shut up. Good to have you along, Dale. Freedom is in the house, and Tack Daddy is in the house. What's up, Kevin? How's it going, man? I haven't talked to you in forever. Calavera says it looks better than what he sees out his windshield. Well, yeah, I can pretty well guarantee that. I don't even know what you're seeing right now, but I know where you're seeing it. You're off behind enemy lines there in occupied California, so that would make sense. But if we go to the other end of the country, what's up in Florida, Kevin? What's going on today? We're just kind of hanging out and chatting about nothing in particular, and I got bored, so I turned on the camera. I was listening to the replay of Caliber Corner because I had to leave early once I got to work. I was on it too late last week, and I kind of got yelled at. My boss is pretty cool, but he reminded me that there's a time to be at work when you're at work. So this week I didn't want to replay that conversation. I just turned it off before he even said anything. So I caught the replay, caught my top 10 list that Travis was relaying for me. Hey Steven, what's up? We're just talking about absolutely nothing in particular. Whatever you guys or gals, if there's any ladies out there listening to, want to talk about. So hit me up with whatever topics, questions, things you have. I'm driving across South Dakota right now. So my wife's brother lives close to Sioux Falls, and I was saying earlier we were hoping to. I've got my Browning in the back seat here, and I've got to get some bases and rings for that, and find a scope. And he's got a scope that he was wanting to get rid of. Told me he'd get rid of it for about half what he has into it, because it is, of course, a used scope. Good Nikon. So I'm heading up to take a look at that. We were hoping to get a little range time in, but we have to get some babysitter time first, and that's not probably going to happen today. So yeah, little discussion about staying out of California. Yeah, I hear you. Any of you that are living in one of those occupied states, California, David, if you ever decide you want to move west and come out here where the living is cheap and the people are nice and the guns are not nearly as restricted, just let me know. Because between Travis and me, Gizzard Gary down in Kansas, we'll find a place for you. So speaking of Gizzard Gary, that's kind of creepy how I just say your name and then you pop up in my chat. So that's kind of scary. It kind of makes me wonder if you can tell me what color I'm thinking of, Gary. Let's see here. Good luck to Calaveras getting out of there. What is my anticipated hunting range? Well, here's the thing. Can you see how far you can see here? Because this is kind of similar to some of the places where I hunt up home. And so, dude, it was blue. That is scary. It was actually not. I'm a Cornhusker. It was red, but that's okay. No, Cal, this is open country here, and I hunt a lot of open country. Even in the hills, there's a lot of open country between the hilltops. That being said, last year, the deer that I took, I was at a whopping range of, I was maybe 30 or 40 yards from that fella when I got him stopped. He didn't even know I was around. I was downwind, and he was traveling from one place to another, heading towards the river and maybe looking for a hot little honey. He didn't know I was there, and Yeah, I didn't even step it off, but it was maybe a 30-yard shot, 40-yard shot at the most. I could just about smell him. So it was close. But that being said, I might take a shot that's 350 yards out there too. Once I get a scope that's dialed in, that I'm confident with myself, and that's one of the reasons why I've wanted to go back to the 270. The 243 will get the job done on a deer, but the 270 will get the job done on a deer and give you a little extra range doing it, a little extra lead hitting at roughly the same trajectory. So that helps too when I'm figuring stuff. So it does look like 50 cal country. I should probably drive and read, not always at the same time. Let's see. 4 to 12. Yeah, the one that I'm coming up here to look at that my brother-in-law has. It's a Pro Staff 5, I believe he said, from Nikon. I would have preferred BDC reticle. It's got a mil dot, and I can deal with mil dot. I can learn that. But it's a 3.5 to 14 power, I believe, and so that would be just fine. He's also got I think it's a Shields brand. He worked for Shields for a while, but it's a 6 to 18, and 6 power on the low end that's just a tad much for the bottom for some of the shooting that I do. And I'm not worried about getting into any long range precision shooting, not with my deer rifle. If I ever do that, I'll have to get a precision rifle of some sort maybe, but let's go 30-06. Yeah, I don't want to go 30-06. I want 270. I've looked at all the research on paper. I've never been behind the trigger on a 30-06, but the 270 does what I want it to do, and I'm not planning on shooting anything bigger than a deer, so I don't need to step up to the heavier round, the heavier load. And the 270, not only is it not going to rock my shoulder quite as much when I get old, but it's shooting a little bit flatter than what that .6 is, and so I don't want to make anybody mad. I guess if you think that I'm just saying bad things about your favorite military round, no. But for me, the 270 is what I wanted. It's what I got. And so I'm not buying a different rifle, and I'm not switching calibers. I got the rifle I want. Now I just got to get it scoped so that I can take it up and do some hunting here in a couple weeks. And if that happens, I will definitely try to include everybody once or twice as I'm hunting there. So I was originally looking at a Vortex, one of their Diamondback HPs, and it was I think it was the 4 to 16 by 42, 44, something like that, objective lens. And that scope, I haven't completely discounted that as an option. My biggest thing is I want to find something with lots of eye relief, just because of the way that I shoulder a rifle. My face is typically a little bit further back on the comb, and so I don't want to have to readjust my cheek weld once I get my rifle shouldered. I don't want to have to move it again to find my eye relief. So I always try to mount my scope as far back as I can, and then make it to where if I can get 4 inches of eye relief, we're good. So that is it's a 1 inch tube, and it's that 3.5 to 14 is I believe a 40 millimeter objective. So the thing is, what I've got right now is a good old, I believe, a Walmart special. I think it cost $50-$60. Just a good old Tasco 3-9 by 40. Back from the days when you had to have either a cartridge rim or a penny to click your turrets. So, hey, Lovey, how you doing? The much better looking Sandhills is in the house now, so everybody wants to wants to show her some love. There she is. Definitely the best looking viewer on this live chat right now, hands down. I can tell you that. So now we're just kind of chatting about nothing in particular, having scope talk right now because that's what the road trip is for. So started talking to my brother-in-law last night a little bit about the scope, and all of a sudden he comes back, and apparently he's been on a couple different websites while I was texting him, and he's telling me all these different scopes that Shields has for what price, and this and that. And so I'm pretty sure we're gonna just load the kids up and take them to Shields, and we'll see what's going on. So, but what's my carry pistol if I'm carrying one? Well, I may or may not be, huh? The thing is, if I carry one, I switch between two off and on. I do like my Glock 19. It's just the shield is so much easier to conceal. If I'm going to do any kind of target shooting, then the Glock is where it's at for me. I can put them exactly where I want them, and it shoots right where I aim. My shield shoots within an inch or two of where I aim, which is good enough for me for what it's for. But it's just so thin, and it just that flush fit mag, it just disappears so well under a shirt or under a hoodie like I have now. So freedom, you know what? That's pretty much the case with me too. If you see me, I'm probably carrying, unless I'm in a gun-free zone, which in the state of Nebraska, there's a lot of those. So anybody who visits Nebraska, if you have a permit from a state that Nebraska honors, learn the laws, because there's a lot of places that you can carry in other states that you can't carry in Nebraska. I know that even South Dakota, where I am right now, it's a little less restrictive on carry. In Nebraska, you cannot carry in a hospital or emergency room or in a place of worship. And in South Dakota, I actually have legally carried in hospitals and in church. So that is okay there. Even if you have a Nebraska permit, they're okay with it. But yeah, learn the laws. But pretty much, if you see me, I'm carrying. Those of you that have heard me say this before, maybe if you've been on some of these, but I try not to make a deal at work. It's always been don't ask, don't tell. There's nothing in the employee handbook, and trust me, I've looked, I've read every page. It does not address carrying firearms whatsoever. I don't want there to ever be a page in the handbook, and I sure as heck don't want to be the reason it gets added. So there are a few people consider need to know at my work that do know whether or not I carry. Anybody who I deem not need to know, we've never had a conversation about it, and I'll just leave it at that. But if I did carry at work, nobody would see it, nobody'd know, because I do have some pretty good holsters that conceal really well. So I know that a lot of people think maybe it's a gimmick, but the alien gear stuff from what I've used and what I have owned, for what you pay, it's good stuff. If you're into leather, then don't buy anything from Alien Gear except a belt. But if you don't mind Kydex or injection molding, things like that, yeah, it might seem kind of like a Lego set, the shapeshift they call it. It's kind of funny because I've heard people dog on Alien Gear for having the Lego set of holsters, and then turn around and talk about the new AR build that they're doing, which to me, the AR platform is perfect for people who like building things out of Legos. I mean, you can customize, you can swap parts out and build it up from the ground up, from the receiver up, and you know, I understand why they're so popular, because you can build it how you want it. Well, why would you dog on a holster system that allows you to do the same thing? You know, you get this injection molded shell, and then you can carry it inside the waistband, outside the waistband. You can put it on a belt slide. You can put it on a paddle. You can put it on your ankle now. You can put it in the car. Excuse me. So you can do all this stuff. They've even got a pocket holster now that looks like a gimmick, but it's probably a good holster. The only thing that I don't like about it, thanks Gary, the only thing that I don't like about it is it doesn't completely enclose the muzzle. The trigger guard's covered because that's the most important thing, but it's only got a half shell down by the muzzle, and in the pocket obviously it's going to get full of a bunch of lint and stuff like that. So yeah, we don't want that. I'm going to get on the interstate. I will try to keep up with the comments as best I can. So if you need me to read something when I get up into traffic here, tag me in it, put at Sandhills Shooter, so it pops up on my screen here, bright orange, the way that Sam just did. And then he says leather holsters he believes are the best because they don't jab you. I'll tell you what, there is something to be said for that. Right now, the holster that I have on is from Bravo, and it is the, I think torsion is what they call it. It's inside the waistband. It's really cool because typically the bottom of the grip is where you get your issues, with printing. And one of the ways to avoid some of that is, to cant your butt forward a little bit, so that your pistol's not riding vertical. At least for me, it is. It's easier. Well, this torsion holster, even when the gun, it wants to sit vertical. There's not really a way to adjust the clip on it to make it ride canted very well. You can do it a little bit, but for the most part, it wants to sit vertical. It wants to return to that position. And then the way that Bravo has this thing designed, they actually make it to where it tips the butt inward towards you. And it does it without any kind of a claw, like, is it Vetter, I think, that does the claw, something like that. The torsion from Bravo is it does a really good job of that, and it comes with 2 clips on it. If you take off the front clip and only run the rear clip, it's tuckable then. But I want to go back to Alien Gear, because I will tell you right now, the Alien Gear, they call it the 4.0, the shape shift inside the waistband 2-clip system. Looks kind of like similar to like a crossbreed, something like that. It's padded. It's got a neoprene backer. It's got like kind of a rubbery, almost like a rubber basketball texture on the front face of the backer, and then you hook your shell to that. And I tell you what, if anybody's looking for a comfortable, tuckable holster that they can wear all day and not know that they even have the thing on, give it a look, because this thing's only like $60 if you buy it by itself, and for $100 you get the whole shapeshift kit, which includes a vehicle mount, which is pretty cool too. So I'm kind of missing the chat. I haven't really been able to read through everything. Hey, Ghost is in the house. What's up, my friend from Arkansas? How we doing? We don't have anything particular we're talking about, just whatever. So Rob D's in the house. Freedom is leaving. Just heading to a gun show. What? Cool. I wish that was going on here, but I'm going to run out of daylight before I get everything done that I want to do today, probably. And that's even if, by some strange reason, we luck into a babysitter, so we're probably not going to get to the range at all. And that's okay, too. Because if we can get a scope mounted and bore-sighted, then I can finish the rest up. Once I go up hunting, I can just take 2 rifles. I can hunt for the morning until the sun comes, after the sun comes up until mid-morning with the old rifle, and then go down to the range mid-morning and make a little noise and fine-tune my gun, and then I can hunt the rest of the time with that. So Calaveras has an alien gear shape shift for the Shield 40. Yeah, that's exactly what I have. Mine's a 9, but it's the original Shield, the Generation 1, I guess. Haven't done anything to it as far as a goofy looking trigger. I don't know why people complain about the trigger. It's fine. Unless you're used to a race gun or something like that, in which case stop whining, your carry gun's different. But I like the trigger. I like the stock trigger on my Shield. I don't have a problem with it. What else have I done to that gun? I put Talon grips on it because the original Shield, the stippling on the grip doesn't have a lot of traction. It's pretty smooth. So I did put Talon grips on it. I think Ghost carries the same gun, and he's got the Hogue sleeve on his. Is that right? Are you leaving, Ghost? Take care, man. And then buy us all something nice at that gun show, Ghost, or buy yourself something nice and just show it to us all. That'd be all right too. I've got a stainless steel guide rod and spring in my Shield, and that's it. Everything else is stock right out of the box. The sights on that, they're steel. They're 3-dot. They're not glow in the dark. They're not night sights, but they are just painted white 3-dot, and that messes me up. So I did black out the dots on the rear sight with just a Sharpie, and every now and then I'll notice that the Sharpie's wearing off, and I will touch it back up. But the only dot that I can see is on my front sight, and in low light that keeps me from getting them out of alignment, because all the dots are the same size and the same color. So Shield is all stock. Well, okay, we're not going to compare a 1911 trigger to a Shield trigger. That's kind of like saying, well, I rode in a Cadillac once and it was a lot nicer than my Geo Metro. I shouldn't say Geo Metro. It was a lot nicer than my Ford Taurus. Well, yeah, a 1911 single action trigger like that, that's always going to be a lot nicer. It's a whole different kind of trigger mechanism. But for what it is, the Shield trigger, I think it's fine. So, and if anybody wants to put a different trigger in your Shield, do it. I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I like mine the way it is. I don't understand why people are so down on the factory Smith & Wesson trigger. Maybe I just haven't put enough rounds through mine to find out. Maybe it's going to break one day, but it's never let me down. The gun's never not fired. So I don't have a problem with it. But as soon as Scott sees a CZ P10 subcompact, he's buying it. Cool. CZ's making some really cool stuff. I just saw here this week, I don't know when they actually got announced, but I think it's been fairly recent. I have don't like the thumb safety magazine disconnect. Well, I live in Nebraska, and my Shield has neither thumb safety nor a magazine disconnect. So I specifically bought the one without a thumb safety, and the reason I did that, I know they are. I know you have to where you are in California. So come on out, live out here, and you can get a non-California compliant firearm. We don't even have magazine restrictions unless you're hunting. So Sam likes the full-size M&P. You know, I've held them. I've never shot one. I would like to try that 2.0. Was it the 2.0 compact they call it? The one that is roughly the exact same dimensions as my Glock 19. I'd give that a whirl. Let's see what I think of it. Well, don't convince her to move. Just pick her up, throw her over your shoulder, and say, "Woman, let's go." Okay, don't do that. Don't ever do that. I'm probably going to get hit by Sandhills Sweetheart just for saying that when I get home. She beats me. She doesn't really. I have to say she doesn't beat me, or else she beats me. I'm kidding. She really is a sweetheart. So I started to say, though, I've held the VP9 before from H&K, and I really liked the gun. Don't start crap, Calaveras. She knows I'm goofy. I really like the VP9. I like the way it feels. I like the fact that you can change not just the back strap, but also the palm swells. I've liked everything about the way that it felt, except for the magazine release. I like the normal push button magazine release. What's up, Philo? And so the VP9 was never even an option for me because of that paddle style magazine release, and I can't stand the thing. But now that VP9, was it the VP9-B? He doesn't take crap, he just disturbs it. The VP9-B has the push button magazine release in the normal place behind the trigger guard where we're used to it. That's pretty cool. And one of the things I like most about it is if we talk about Walther for a second, the PPQ, there's an M1 and an M2, and the M1 has the paddle style magazine release, the M2 has the American style push button release, and the magazines are model specific. The M1 mags don't fit the M2, the M2 mags don't fit the M1 on the PPQ. That's the way it's always been explained to me anyway. Ozzy Osbourne in the house. But on the VP9-B, those are designed to still take the original VP9 magazines. So there's no difference. So the magazines are a lot easier, not only easier to come by, but you don't have to specify which VP9 magazine you need, because it will take the same one no matter which release style, which I think is really cool. So I think that right there, along with having the option to go paddle or push button on the magazine release, I think that's just one minor change on a great gun, and I think that Heckler & Koch has hit it back out of the park again. As an urban dweller, you're jealous? Yeah, this is what eastern South Dakota looks like. It's pretty flat. Little rolling hills, but for the most part, pretty flat. You go out to the western part, of course, out by the Black Hills, it's totally different. But yeah, there's all this room to shoot. The problem is, it's all privately owned, and you can't just go shoot wherever you want to. So that's the issue I have where I live. There's no range close by. And yeah, there's lots of wide open country, but you can't just roll into somebody's bean field and set up a target and start shooting on private property without having the sheriff get called on you. So you don't want to do that. But yeah, standing invitation. Anybody that wants to come out sometime from one of the more oppressive states, or just if you live in a big town and you want to come out to where there's no people, let me know, and we'll set up a weekend. We'll go out to the home place, the hacienda, the ranch, where I do have access, and we can set up and shoot wherever. And if you want to shoot 100 yards, if you want to measure off 1,000 yards, we can do it. There's places to do it. There's places up on my dad's ranch where you can shoot as far as you can see, and the bullets still, I mean, if you shoot up into the air, maybe not, but if you just shoot flat, straight across, the bullet's going to land still on the ranch no matter what you're shooting. So that's pretty cool. Even if you're shooting a 50, because it's probably going to hit a hill first, but unless you shoot up in the air, it's still going to come down on the same ranch. So that's pretty neat. We just got to watch out for cows. We won't be shooting where we don't know what's on the other side of the hill. So USPs are cool. I have shot a USP with a suppressor. I've shot a suppressed USP in 45, and I gotta say that was pretty BA. That was cool. It's the only time I've ever shot a suppressed gun, but I had my earplugs in because I was shooting my guns, and the guy hands it over to me and says, go ahead and give it a whirl. So I shot it. Couldn't aim because it didn't have suppressor sights. There is no cow season. No. Now you got to understand that when you get out to ranch country, cows are not pets. You might drive, an hour or so out of the town you live in and see somebody that's got 1 or 2 cows. Where I come from, they have cows by the hundreds. These are not pets. These are income. They're not mistreated. They get better feed, better health care than a lot of humans do. But they're a livelihood. They're a source of income. They're not pets. That doesn't mean that the ranchers don't care about them, because they do. But yeah, there's no cow season. Yes, they are. Yes, they are, Calaveras. I got off track. I don't know what I was going to say. That's okay. Those of you that aren't used to me, welcome to my ADD. I'm the reason why there's abbreviations, and I'm the reason why ADD is abbreviated, because we don't want to talk about things and have to say, all the way out, attention deficit. Yeah, we had more cows than people in my hometown too, Rob, so that was cool. See what I did there before I even got all the way through attention deficit disorder? I trailed off. That was a joke. But I really did grow up in a place where there were more cows than people. Remind me, Rob, I think I've asked you this before, but where was that? I lose track of everybody. I can't keep track where everybody is. It goes back to that ADD thing. Until I've talked to you about it 2 or 3 times, I don't remember where you are. Unless you're nice and you put your state outline in your avatar, upstate New York, cool. Those of you with your state in your avatar, like the pickle, kind of makes it easy for me to remember where you are. So that helps a little. So yeah. Well, we're within about 10-15 minutes of me signing off. What's pressing out there? What does everybody need to know before I'm gone? What's happening out in the world that we need to discuss? Anything big? It may seem weird with me being from California, but I'm from... No, I don't think that's weird. I know that there is a big cattle industry in California, so I was aware of that. I know that there's a lot of California cowboys, real ones. Just they're not from down in the LA San Diego area. That's the only place I've been to. I've been to San Diego and I've been to Riverside, and that's it. And the road between the two, and that's it. But I know that Northern California is completely different. It's kind of like saying you've been to Nebraska, but you've only been to Omaha, or you've driven through Nebraska, but you've only been on the interstate. Yeah, it's different. So I understand that not every part of California is like the southern part by the coast there. I know there's a lot of dairy cows in California too, along with grapes, fun stuff, and really, really tall trees. That's mostly what I know. And lots of crazy people that give the rest of you a bad name. So that's mostly what I know. But yeah. So I don't really have time to go back and read through everything. But David, did I see that you said that you can go to the railroad tracks and go shooting down the railroad tracks? Is that right? N1663R is in the house. What's up? We're talking about nothing today. I can't believe there's so many of you hanging out with me to talk about nothing. This is cool. And even though my lovely wife couldn't be here on the road trip with me, she joined me in the chat, so that's cool. You know what? Honestly, Calaveras, I don't have Instagram. I just decided that it was time to pull back a little bit from all the social media, and I was spending way too much time on social media and not nearly enough time doing other duties, being a husband, things like that. And so I've lessened my online presence. I don't spend a whole lot of time on YouTube anymore unless I'm alone. If I'm alone in the car, that's different. It's not taken away from family time. But to be on live chats, pretty much Caliber Corner on Saturdays, and then the Tuesday night lineup. If Ghost sends me a link, I'll jump on. When Night Strike sends me a link, I jump on. And of course, the 2A Tuesday show that we do on our channel now. And I say we because you typically don't get to see Sandhills Sweetheart on the show during the chat. She might walk through, and you might see her behind me, and you might see her comment in the chat a little bit. You don't usually see her come on and actually talk, but you don't get to see all the behind the scenes stuff that she does and all the support that I get from my wife just having a YouTube channel. Because of you that are married, you understand this. It's hard to juggle everything between being a spouse and being on YouTube, and especially if your channel grows very big and you do a lot of YouTube and posting and things like that. Unless it's the only job you have, then it really cuts into family time. And I think everybody that we've kind of seen in our I guess I say our circle, our gun channels circle, I think everybody's kind of found that out, that it's fun when you first get into it, and it's really easy to dump a whole lot of time into it at the beginning, and then you end up realizing that, hey, this is affecting me, and not in the way that it should, not in a good way. And it's really hard for me because I'm the kind of guy that likes that affirmation. I like it when I turn on the camera in the car and I've got 15 people watching. It feeds my ego. It's a nice boost. When I have a live show and I've got people, I've got a full chat room. I've got 9 other folks alongside myself in there talking on the panel. Great women, yes, great women make us good men. And I think you said it exactly right, because I have a great woman, and because of her, I can try to get to being a good man. I can't be a great man, I don't think, ever, but yeah, Popo's got somebody pulled over there. But definitely I have a great woman, and because of her, I can goal of getting to the good man status. So definitely. What part of South Dakota? It's not West River. This is T. Well, I'm going to be in Sioux Falls here in a little bit, but the place where I'm going is kind of in between T and Sioux Falls proper. I don't actually know which the address is. It might be a Sioux Falls address. It might be a T address. But if you've got maps, just look up T, South Dakota. Just like the old, I don't know if you can see that sign right there. Welcome to T, home of the Titans. Later, Calaveras. Thanks for hanging out, bud. Thanks for all the support that you give my channel. So, it's the sound of the police. All right. Wow, this is going to be nice when they get the stoplight done. All right. Well, in the interest of not having anybody track where I'm actually going, I think I'm going to sign off before I get back into town here, so nobody knows exactly where my relatives live. but I want everybody to have a great day. I want everybody to 2A every day. Thanks for being part of my channel. Thanks for being part of the 2A community. If you stumbled across this on accident, welcome. But we are a pro Second Amendment channel, and that doesn't mean we always all agree on everything, but we can all agree that freedom is a good thing and we don't want to lose it. So that's what we're all here for. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do that. And if you want to get notifications when I do turn on the camera and go live like this without announcing it ahead of time, make sure you click that little bell after you subscribe so that you get the notifications. And then go back and recheck, because if you don't go on my channel very, very often or regularly, then YouTube will just unclick that for you, and you won't get the notifications. And eventually people get unsubscribed. I think they don't do it on purpose. I've had to resubscribe to a few people that I know I subscribe to. So make sure you do that. If you haven't given me a like and you like hanging out, go ahead and thumb it up. Don't have to. I don't beg for thumbs. Share it if you really liked it, and then feel free to make comments after the fact too. Thanks for letting me know that you're here. I appreciate the discussion. I'll have to go back and reread everything and see what I missed, but appreciate everybody. Thanks for all the channel support. Be sure and catch us Tuesday nights, 9 o'clock Central Time, for our 2A Tuesday chat. So everybody have a great rest of your day. Have a super safe Sunday, and God bless y'all.